Hey, you listen to Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 89.0. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we've got Josh.
Hey.
We're going to start off with the big attraction, the main event right now on Raw, the Shield plus Jason Jordan.
Or maybe just the Shield divided.
I'm liking the dynamic
Right?
though.
It's pretty clear that whatever you call them, the Shield does not trust Jason Jordan.
hmm
That came out abundantly clear in the main event match.
Yeah. Well, it's harsh on them, you know. They're coming from an ultra tight three-man unit where we've already been betrayed once. Finally managed to build up all of this faith in trusting each other again. One of you gets injured, and the general manager shoves his son in that position. I can see why there's a little bit of apprehension. But to me, I'm loving the dynamic here with Jason Jordan just sort of almost like along for the ride, but just sort of happy to be here now.
And you could see his ego, his head getting just a little bit bigger every single week.
It's gonna pop soon, ain't it?
Who knows? But it's definitely building to something.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's definitely building along the very similar lines to Kurt's initial run in WWE.
hmm That wouldn't be an accident. But I believe they have a match for the Royal Rumble. If I'm going to load up the page, which I should have already
Yeah, it
had
was
up.
a title match was a tag team title match was announced for the Rumble, and it will be the Bar getting their rematch.
I'm interested to see where that goes. Obviously, previous to Dean's injury, we'd seen every damn bloody combination of Rollins, Ambrose, Cesaro, and Sheamus as we could. You throw Jason Jordan in the mix, it changes it up a little bit, but the fact of the matter is going to still be that we've seen three of these guys clash like 50 times.
Yeah, I think this, no matter what happens with this match, it has to be the last time that any form of this combination faces off for the titles.
Yeah. You have plenty of good tag teams on Raw that you can move around. Like, what? Titus Worldwide got a win, I think it was. There's. I can't believe I mentioned Titus Worldwide. God.
How about the Revival?
Yeah. And that would work with current alignment. So yeah. Options are definitely out there rather than seeing the same Cesaro Sheamus match over and over and over and over. They're not bad matches, but we've seen the combination too many times now. I'd be very open to the Revival versus Rollins and Jordan. I'd be interested to see what the three other than Rollins bring to the table in terms of a dynamic. But yeah.
Well, they had good. At least Jason Jordan was part of a good match with the Revival in NXT.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm always hoping that.
Of course, Seth is one of the best workers in the company, so
that's why I always
think
discount Seth. You don't need to put Seth in the equation. He's like a mathematical anomaly. It's the other three that need to work it off. But yeah, as you said, NXT, they've gone back and forth before. I think it'll work still. So yeah, that'll be the next pick then, huh? Revival versus whatever this team's called. If we're going into... where do we want to go now? Women's division. Sasha Banks and Bayley got to take on Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. And also from the rumors from the dirt sheets, prognosis not looking too good for Paige.
Yeah, could be worse. Could be prognosis for Samoa Joe.
True. Pretty much no good news this week. Nothing but bad news. I think if what I read was 100%, Paige 100% misses the women's Rumble, and Joe, it varies with his injury. I think we've got to wait and see the severity. But I think he's definitely out of the Rumble itself, unless he's coming down in a moon boot.
Depends. Yeah, it's 2 to 3 weeks, so is the general rehab period. So there is a possibility he could be in the Rumble.
True. Might be pushing it.
But with this type of injury, though, it's something that could linger on as well.
I'd almost... I don't know. If it's a small spot, sure, but I'd almost hazard to leave it for that little bit longer. Just to help it heal 100% rather than going, it's 90%, it's good enough, and running on out. I'll always err on the side of caution there. But Did it seem as though Joe and Cena was a thing?
It's possible. I know people have been wanting that match forever. But every time it gets to like it could possibly happen, Joe gets hurt.
And that happened again. I think we always got to wait for the Rumble, because that Rumble match itself is just a feud generator. The Rumble match is like playing Mad Libs. You're just sort of throwing names out there and the thinnest veil, like, oh, he hit me in the back of the head while I was trying to eliminate someone. There's a feud. This guy eliminated you, there's a feud. And generally we'll know.
And sometimes it's as blatant as what happened with Roman and Undertaker last year.
Yeah.
He eliminates and then proceeds to taunt him.
Yep. The taunt is just the icing on the cake. But yeah, we know pretty much after the Rumble most of the main event directions. So I'll wait and see, especially if Joe's not in there. It might be a little bit harder, but I've heard horrible rumors about The Undertaker, John Cena. I just sort of look the other way and hope like hell the sunset is where The Undertaker stays ridden off to. But there's options open for both men, depending on Joe's injury. If I go to the Women's Rumble, Mickie James and Nia Jax officially added. Becky Lynch on Smackdown. Still nothing crazy, right? We got 17 of 30 now. Paige probably has to come out, 16 of 30. No one insane. I don't think we're going to announce anyone insane. They're just going to pop up.
Yeah. You're not going to like this.
Oh, God.
But apparently Triple H was not at SmackDown.
Okay.
This week because he was busy having a dinner conversation with Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Which is speculated to be around the negotiations for her to be in the Rumble.
That's a thing. Sure is. Yeah. Just give a deep sigh. Maybe I'll end up loving it as much as you end up loving the Bludgeon Brothers. Maybe it's going to be one of those things. But I got to expect it won't be. And I will just cry a little tear out the side of my eye. I don't know. We'll wait and see. At the moment we have 13 spots open and only 2 more active competitors not announced. I got Alicia Fox off the top of my head. I'm going to assume there's a couple others. But that's going to leave open a good 10 plus spots.
Yeah.
So,
We're definitely going to have a few from NXT. That's a given.
They could try not to, but it would be rough.
No, there's definitely going to be some from NXT.
Maybe 2? Maybe 2 specific?
I've heard of at least here. I know the Iconic Duo have been talked about,
yes.
Which are 2 specific that you're referring to.
Yep.
I think Kairi Sane has been talked about as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever they are, they would not be permanent call-ups.
Yeah.
They would just be for the Rumble only. That's why I could probably see Ember being in the match as well.
I think if it's not permanent, then literally anybody in NXT could be in there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just they would just be to help fill the Rumble. And then they would go back to NXT.
We'll wait and see. I'm excited. Normally the Rumble, because all pay-per-views fall on Mondays here in New Zealand, midday, weirdly enough. But somehow, some way, the gods have aligned it in that there's a public holiday here in New Zealand on that Monday. So I will magically be able to be watching it live and super excited. 2 Rumbles. There's no way this pay-per-view can disappoint.
Oh, there's lots of ways.
There's no way this could disappoint. This is going to be a great pay-per-view. Well, we got the two Rumble matches, the men's, the women's. We got the Universal Title Triple Threat. We got the United States Championship match. We got the WWE Championship Handicap match. We got tag team matches for both titles. The women's titles, I'm assuming, are not going to be on the line. We could have an Intercontinental match added here. But for the most part, we're pretty stacked already, especially with the 2 Rumbles. Some of these are going to have to move to pre-show. It's just unexpected.
It's not the Royal Rumble. It's the Rusev Rumble.
What a way to put it. But yeah, we'll see. I'm crossing my fingers that it's all good. Matt Hardy, he's a thing. Though I've heard good things about him burying the hatchet with whatever we want to call TNA at the moment. I've seen photos, there was a handshake. I'm feeling good. We might get to see the full broken character. I do wonder with the Matt Hardy character at the moment if we are, or WWE is sort of relying too much on people knowing what the hell it is, and not just their fan favorite Matt Hardy has all of a sudden started laughing funny. So I kind of wonder how the casual audience sees it. Sadly, I can't get that perspective.
And I didn't really watch it this week, so can't really say anything.
Fair enough. Miz, he's back. Wants his title. You gonna deny it to him?
Yeah, because he needs a bigger prize.
What are you lining up Miz for?
Well, I would say this. If anybody on Raw is going to win the Royal Rumble, it'll be him.
Yes. I'm happy with that. Always
Not that anybody on Raw is actually going to win it.
Nope. Miz versus Brock Lesnar. Book it.
Actually, I probably would rather see Miz versus AJ.
But how the hell does that work? Are we crossing brands? Are we allowing that?
The Crispin Walk clause.
Yeah, just the old Batista with 2 clipboards. I'd be fine with it. I'm fine with anything. It's a Rumble. You can't do me no wrong. Enzo Amore Cedric, just because we've got to get through Cruiserweight Championship. Enzo not hungover this time. Or not still drunk from the night before.
It happened.
That all you want to say? It happened?
Yeah.
It happened. Yes. Another thing that also happened, Braun Strowman absolutely murdering a couple people.
Yeah.
WWE has got away with televising a lot of murder.
Where the heck did he... why did somebody leave a grappling hook laying around for a giant monster to crush people under equipment?
People? That's a beast and a demon, okay? It's a beast, a demon, and a monster. I don't know what I'm more scared of. But yeah, I'm loving it. Again, much like a Royal Rumble match, Braun Strowman can do me no wrong. And the build's been great towards it, but still don't sadly expect any form of title change happening. Sadly. So now we'll go into our theme. It is the Bludgeon Brothers theme, and once we come back we will talk about Smackdown. Here's that song again now. And you're back with the Wrestling Roundup. FreeFM 89.0, Grady and Josh. We're on Smackdown. We just played their theme. The Bludgeon Brothers, The Ascension, Breezango. It's still happening.
Yeah, the Ascension got, they got ascensioned.
Breezango are going to have to attend a couple funerals next week.
I almost expect somehow that this in like a pre-show match and a 4-on-2 handicap match that still has the Bludgeon Brothers come out on top.
Yep, 100%. It's going to take a lot to beat the Bludgeon Brothers at the moment. It'll be interesting once it finally happens, but I don't see it happening in this feud with Breezango and Ascension.
I have loved the Bludgeon Brothers entrance. I just think it could be just a bit better if they took their hammers and actually smashed something with it.
Like
in the middle of their entrance.
A redone skull of their opponent. Specifically carved to look like them.
I'll settle for a water ballad. I don't care.
Any old man can smash a watermelon with a sledgehammer.
Well, one man in particular made quite a living off of it.
Yeah. I can see what
because I originally, when I first thought it was like, I'd want them to like bash them on the stage or something, but I realized they can't do that because they reuse it.
Yeah.
So I just thought, well, I'd like to see them smash something. Just anything. I don't care what it is. It could be a pop bottle can. I don't care.
Why have these massive props and then do nothing with them?
Yeah. Yeah, they just leave them laying in the middle of the ramp, standing straight up.
Maybe we'll see a bit of an evolution with them. Maybe this handicap match, the 4-on-2, will switch around, make it a no DQ, and somebody's going to get hit by a hammer. Who knows? Chad Gable, Shelton Benjamin, they got themselves a match against the Usos in a 2 out of 3 falls match at the Rumble.
That should be interesting. Should be very interesting.
New champs?
Probably. Probably just so they can lose them to Rusev Day.
Yes.
At Rusev Mania.
You said losing the titles to Rusev Day. You had me there. You don't need to add any more.
But it's going to be at Rusev Mania.
I'm fine if it's at some live show in Nebraska. Okay, I don't care. But yeah, we'll see. I think definitely new champs here. I think the Usos have had them for a while. I'm sure if I pull up how long have they had them combined.
Well, they've had them all over for the better part of almost all of 2017, except for like a couple months that the New Day had them.
What do we got here? They had it for 124, then lost them for a month, and then 23, and then lost them for a month, and they've had them for another 100. So total that up.
As I said, for a better part of 2017.
Yeah, about 250. 250 days. That's a lot of days. Let's drop them to Gable Benjamin. Let's do him a service.
Yeah, and I mean the New Day had them twice, but only had them a month each. So that was 2 months that they didn't have them, and American Alpha had them the first 2 months of the year.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, it was last year was the Usos' year.
Yeah. But if we're talking about a different championship, this time we're going to go with the US Championship. Mojo Rawley beat Zack Ryder as expected. I was expecting cheers, I got claps.
Standing ovation!
Sadly, in the medium of radio, we cannot see you standing right now. But I will take your word for it. So, I'm guessing that means you're happy he won?
Yeah, yeah. Wish he would have murdered Zack, but hey, can't get everything you want.
No, he's still got to lose to Bobby next time, okay? So, calm down a little bit.
Yeah, we can't have him getting arrested before the match.
They might have to replace him in that match
that
with
is
Zack.
an obvious shot, too, by the way.
Take as many shots as you want. This was also the shortest match of the first rounds. It only went for like 5 minutes. So I think it almost feels like we're trying to build Mojo up really well, but I still don't see him don't see him beating Bobby here.
No, the finals clearly has to be Rude versus Mahal.
Mm-hmm. I accept that. I'm happy with that.
And the interesting thing is it'll be 2 Canadians fighting for the United States Championship.
Yep. And
although
one is pretends to
one
not
is
be
playing
Canadian.
an
Indian. Yeah. We got our handicap match early. Not quite the handicap match we're getting at the Rumble, but we got a handicap match early.
And Shane McMahon continues to throw his power around while questioning Daniel Bryan's attempts to balance said power throws.
If Daniel's not getting back in the ring at this point, I'm almost disappointed. Stop leaning that way if you're not going to do it, right? Stop teasing.
Yeah, I gotta believe the payoff has to be Daniel Bryan versus Shane McMahon. It's in some way, shape, or form at the WrestleMania.
Yeah, it feels like it's leaning that way. Whether we actually go that way or not, sadly, is a different question. Not my question to answer.
That's why I said in some way, shape, or form.
True.
Does not necessarily specify that it would be Daniel Bryan in the ring.
Yeah. Fair enough. Before we do some mixed match, I did say we may mention very small bits about New Japan. A couple of New Zealanders decided to show up, so thumbs up for New Zealanders doing decently over in Japan. But also, they announced a Australian tour. Four shows is a tour, right? New Japan Fallout Down Under, a show in Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, and Perth, running from the 16th to the 19th of February. I'm not even going to read out the list of the names. All the New Japan people, except Omega and someone else big, Naito, sorry, not showing up. So, continuing to branch out, still not as big as the WWE, as much as people on the internet would like to debate that. Mixed match time. You're going to tell me how good these pairings of people are. On Raw, we have Nia Jax and Apollo Crews.
Eh.
I think the point here was that Enzo was meant to be in the mixed match, and he got swapped with Apollo. I feel like that's just the swap here, right? Like, Nia Enzo would have made storyline sense.
But does the pairings really actually make storyline sense?
Some of them. It seemed like SmackDown was making storyline sense, and then they took a bit of a swerve. So we'll wait and see. But on SmackDown, we got Naomi and her husband. That makes a little more sense, right?
Yeah, that does make sense.
But then on Raw, we have Asuka and The Miz.
That's probably going to be the winner. That's a great team. That's a great team.
Yeah. I think I wrote interesting pairing when it was announced and I posted the image. I maintain that comment. It's definitely an interesting pairing. I want to see what happens.
Excuse the pun. It's an awesome pairing.
Yeah, fair enough. Alicia Fox and Goldust.
That's an interesting pairing right there.
You can't have too much crazy in the ring. Sadly, looking at the other teams, I got to assume Alicia Fox and Goldust might be a first round loss. But yeah, we'll see what these two insane people do. I'll be disappointed if Alicia Fox doesn't come out in face paint. And then the final team for Raw is Bayley and Elias, meant to be Samoa Joe via fan vote, but Joe obviously injured, switched out with the Songbird.
I think most people picked Joe because they just wanted to see the image of an excited Bayley trying to hug the big giant monster of a man of Joe.
Yeah.
That would have just been an hilarious image.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was the better pairing of the three that we were given, but this one is interesting more with Elias. Seems almost like he's trying to serenade Bayley over Twitter. So we'll see how this one plays out, but maybe another first round loss. Let's stick with interesting pairings as our theme. Shinsuke Nakamura and Natalya.
Yeah, that was something I wasn't expecting.
But I guess if you put it into perspective, Natalya is coming fresh off being the champion, so storyline sense, she's ranked fairly highly in the SmackDown Women's division, combined with Shinsuke, who's obviously very high in the SmackDown Men's division as well, so technically this should be a formidable team.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, Natalya, you're going to take the pinfall when you lose.
Yeah, especially if Nakamura wins the Rumble.
Yeah. Skip over that one, because that's my favorite team. We'll get to there. Carmella and Biggie. Biggie obviously voted out of all the New Day members.
Yeah, I don't know what to think.
They've done a few things, like they've already done a pre-done video with them like teaching Carmella how to do pancake stuff, and it almost makes me wonder, because there was some lead up to this as well, whether this one is going to have more storyline implications down the road, potentially with Carmella sticking around with the New Day. I'm not quite sure yet. We'll wait and see. And the final team on SmackDown, Sami Zayn and Becky Lynch.
Team Redhead.
If you haven't seen the announcement video, whatever you want to call it, of these two, go watch that one on WWE's Facebook page.
Oh, they showed it on SmackDown.
Sweet. Great is all I can say. It'll be interesting to see which of those two things happens, whether Becky brings out the old Sami Zayn or Sami Zayn brings out the fight inside Becky. Or neither. But I see them winning at least one match.
Well, I'm not sure this is a tournament.
Isn't it?
I think this might be a round-robin thing.
Let me go find out.
I don't think it's been specified the exact rules.
Okay. Upcoming series, and it just says tournament?
Yeah, but it doesn't say what kind of tournament. It doesn't have a bracket or anything. And
you make a good point.
And it made it sound like there could be more than just one match for each team.
12 episode series. So you got to have a lot then.
Yeah, because there's only 2, 4, 6, 8, and 12 teams. There's only 12 teams. So what? 20-minute episodes.
Two matches. So 24 matches. Okay, so I almost expect taking it to like
maybe a double elimination tournament?
Possibly, or pools, like a Raw pool and a SmackDown pool, and then the top two out of those enter a single elim or something along those lines.
I guess we'll find out on the 16th when they release the first episode.
So we can talk more in depth about that next week.
Hmm.
That's good, because we're out of time anyway, so it's been great talking to you.
Maybe.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling radio, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling radio. And we'll see you next week.